Yeah, so I'm terrified of heights. I was petrified.
It was different from any sport I've ever done because there wasn't really a lot of climbers with one hand, and so I kind of had to learn it all on my own. I don't just want to be the best one-handed climber. I want to be so good at climbing with one hand, you'll never know that I have one. My name is Zarzuela. I'm a paraclimber on the US team, and I'm gonna be taking you through my training session today and kind of what my routine looks like as I got ready for LA 28. I was born with one hand, and growing up, it was obviously difficult in the ways you kind of expected it to be. Obviously you face bullying and you always have that issue of kind of feeling different from everyone else, but sports was a great outlet for me and a great way for me to kind of get comfortable with having one hand again. When I was younger, I played a lot of sports. In middle school, I started getting really active and I played baseball for a lot of years, tried kind of everything under the sun, basketball, soccer, track, you name it. And it wasn't until a little later on that I tried climbing, and once I did, I really got into that one. Typically for my warm-up, I just like to warm up with bands and stuff off the wall, just stuff to get the blood flow going. Everyone does their warm-ups a little differently. I'm honestly pretty bad at warming up, if that makes sense. It's like, I think some people have really cool, really nice, really thought out warm-up routines. I don't, and that seems to work for me. For me, I just work on just making sure my body feels good, I guess. So it's like day to day, it's like when I come into a session, I just want to feel ready to climb. So my first time trying climbing was on my birthday. I went to a climbing gym in Queens, where I'm from. It was super cool. It was different from any sport I've ever done because there wasn't really a lot of climbers with one hand, and so I kind of had to learn it all on my own. It made for an opportunity to kind of learn how to use my arm in a way that I never had before. So I first learned about paraclimbing in kind of a funny or different way from a lot of other paraclimbers. I was just at the gym climbing. A couple other paraclimbers came up to me actually, and they were just like, "You see, you're a pretty decent climber and you have one hand. Have you ever heard of paraclimbing or been interested in competing?" Yeah, ever since I've been in the sport. Yeah, so I'm terrified of heights. Always have been, probably always will be. But one of the cool things about climbing is it's gotten me acclimated with it. And it wasn't until I started climbing with other paraclimbers that they put me into doing top rope at the time. I was petrified. And they were good friends, but they were also mean back then. So it's like they kind of like held me up on the wall for a little bit of time, that little bit of exposure therapy. Even though I still have a fear of heights, that kind of goes away when I'm lead climbing because you're so in tune with yourself and the movement, and it becomes so routine, you get very, very comfortable with it. When I first started climbing, I wasn't really good at it, but I didn't stop doing it because it was fun and challenging to push myself. You see progression non-linearly, if that makes sense. So it's like you progress really quickly. I don't know, it's cool to feel like you're doing something that otherwise felt impossible. Like I think most people start climbing and a lot of the stuff you see climbers do just seems unfathomable to them. And I felt the same way. I still do sometimes, but it's cool to feel like I can learn how to do that. I just have to train and get stronger. And I think that's what keeps me pushing in climbing is I constantly think about, I don't just want to be the best one-handed climber. I want to be so good at climbing with one hand, you'll never know that I have one. So, it's a silly motivation, and it's just something that kind of pushes me. Paraclimbing is debuting for the first time ever at LA 28, and it's so exciting to think that I'll get to be there for the first time this is ever going to happen. I think the first time I was introduced to the Paralympics was back when I was still a kid. I was just watching the summer games and I was watching track, but there was something so cool about watching these para-athletes run because it was the first time I've ever seen anything quite like it. I think people can expect to be thoroughly surprised and very impressed by the paraclimbing competition. I think it's one of those beautiful sports where it's so easy to put yourself in the position of the athletes and be able to be shocked at what the athletes can actually accomplish and do. What I like most about paraclimbing is that it feels very freeing for a sport. You can do a lot with being a para-athlete in paraclimbing. You can do it more than a lot of able-bodied climbers will be able to do. It's just dependent on how much you want to push yourself. And that's been my favorite part about it is like you can You don't have to stop at being the best climber with one hand. You can be the best climber in the gym, even though you have one hand. As far as equipment goes for climbing, first things first, especially if you're lead climbing, you need your harness. Just want something that feels super comfortable on you. Snug but not tight. If you're ever unsure, ask someone when you're buying a harness and they'll be able to help you out with it. Outside of that, you have chalk bag, chalk, obviously climbing shoes. You tend to wear your climbing shoes really tight. Think like one size or a size and a half, depending on the person, smaller than your regular shoes, because you want to feel pretty snug in them, because that way you're like really close to the wall. So for me, the problem was I have one hand. So putting them on with one hand was such a pain. And so they actually went out and made this for me so that I can actually just pull this on with a carabiner so I don't ever have to deal with that again, which is really nice of them. And then if you're lead climbing, you'll want some sort of belay device and then a carabiner to go with it, and then a rope, obviously. To be a successful climber, I think it takes a lot of determination, a lot of discipline too. I think it's easy to become a good climber. I think it's really hard to become a great climber. And what I mean by that is that you're gonna have a lot of days that you don't feel strong, and I have that issue a lot too, and you're gonna feel frustrated, but you kind of need a little bit of that kind of drive if you want to be a great climber. You have to be willing to want to be the best, or figure out what it takes for you to be better than you were before. My journey in climbing has been pretty unique and has been pretty amazing. It's insane to me to think that I'm where I'm at now and that I'll be competing in LA in 28.
Preparing for LA means preparing for something when we found out about it 3-4 years out of the way. And so you're thinking as an athlete, it's like, how do I get myself to be the best athlete in the world in 2 years from now? If you want to go to LA and you want to win at LA, you really have to think and believe that all the time, and you have to do whatever you can to get that. You become a lot more dialed in, you have this drive that you otherwise didn't have. It's been really cool. It's kind of lit a new fire under me in climbing that I didn't know I didn't have. It feels really special knowing that we're gonna get to compete on home soil.